Guam is made up of so many beautiful villages and unique areas, and in this video, I'm going to take you on a tour, so to speak. Not only will I share the correct pronunciation of each village, because nobody wants to visit a new place and potentially butcher the names, right? But I will also share which areas are my personal favorites and why. Let's get into it. So I'll go through the list of Guam's villages starting from north to south, and I'll let you know which ones are my favorite areas, probably with like a little gold star or gold unicorn in the corner, or even just a little ding bell sound. I haven't figured it out yet. Zigo. Zigo. Zigo is the northernmost village of Guam and also houses the Andersen Air Force Base for you military folks out there. It is also home to two of the most beautiful beaches in my opinion, only because these shores look almost untouched, like they still look very, very like white sand all across. And these would be Retinian Beach, which is open to public access, as well as Taragi Beach, which is only open to those who have base access. Dededo. Dededo. Dededo definitely has a lot of businesses scattered throughout, such as grocery stores, banks, the Micronesia Mall, of course, as well as apartment complexes. It is also home to two different sites that I highly recommend people who are visiting should experience. One is the Agwe Cove hike. This is about maybe like a 10 to 15 minute hike down to a beautiful cove opening and a great snorkeling area. And the second side is Two Lovers Point, which is a big attraction for tourists, but it's basically a cliffside site. Tamuning. Tamuning. Tamuning also houses the sub-villages of Tuman and Upper Tuman. And the reason Tamuning is one of the first on my favorites list is, well, let me talk about Tuman first. Tuman is well known for being like the tourist strip. This is home to a lot of hotels, restaurants, bars, other businesses. So the reason I like Tamuning is because if you lived in Tamuning, you're close enough to Tuman without actually being in Tuman, if that makes sense. So, you know, like if you did want to go and experience the, you know, the nightlife or the like shopping areas that the Tuman Strip has to offer, you can still go back home to Tamuning and, you know, have your quiet time. Barrigada. Barrigada. Barrigada also houses the sub-village of Barrigada Heights, and the reason that this is one of my favorites is purely because of like childhood memories. If you ever went into the Barrigada Heights residential areas, that was always a hotspot for trick-or-treating. And now being a mom of a toddler, I can see why that area would be so appealing for trick-or-treating for your kids, especially if you have like small ones, because all the houses there, you know, it seems like majority of them participate in Halloween and trick-or-treating events. So they're close enough to each other that you could get, you know, down like a whole street of houses and not have your kids tire out too quickly. Mangilao. Mangilao. Now this one I have to give a special shout out to as being one of my favorites, and I'm gonna be biased here. It's because it's where I grew up. Manila is my home village. Manila is generally a nice, quiet area as well, and it also houses the University of Guam as well as the Guam Community College. And as a side note, I know for a fact Manila is probably one of my husband's favorite areas because of the Manila golf course that's there. Manila hosts a Thursday night market as well as the annual Doni Festival. On a side note, if you are planning a move to Guam or you have an upcoming PCS to Guam and you're interested in buying or renting a home or buying or renting a vehicle, then I do have my preferred list of reputable and trusted realtors and agents. So if you'd like to connect with my highly recommended partners, then you can send me an email at theislandunicorn@gmail.com. And yes, that is actually me who will be responding to you, not a team member or a bot. It's actually me. Shoot me an email there and I will get you all connected. Okay, back to the video. Mongmong Toto Maiti. Mongmong Toto Maiti, or just MTM. Hagatnya. Hagatnya. Hagatnya is the capital of Guam and also houses the sub-village of Aganya Heights. Sometimes Hagatnya is referred to as just Aganya. Hagatnya does also house a lot of businesses as it's central to the whole island. It's got a lot of restaurants, cafes, a lot of like beachside venues. It has the Agana Shopping Center. Agana Heights also houses the Naval Hospital. We actually used to live in Agana Heights for a little bit, and I really liked it because it's kind of like Timuning in the sense that it's close enough to Hagåtña with all the hustle and bustle without actually being in the thick of it. So Agana Heights, I would consider it being a little more on like the quiet side. Agana Heights also hosts the annual Coconut Festival. Sinahanya. Sinahanya. Just a quick note, in the Chamorro alphabet, the English equivalent J is pronounced as Ha. So hence why I wouldn't say Sinajana, it's Sinahanya. Salampagu Odat. Salampagu Odat. Or this may also be pronounced as Chalampago Ordat. Zotnya. Zotnya. Zotnya does lean more towards being a residential area primarily, even though it does have businesses, throughout. But the reason why it's one of my favorites is purely just because of the drive as you are heading into the village. I don't know what it is. Drives, to me, I don't like doing long drives, but if they are scenic drives, then I completely enjoy it. And one of the nice areas too that you should check out is the Pago Bay Overlook, which is located in Zotnya. Talafofo. Talafofo. This houses the sub-village of Ipan, and Talafofo also hosts an annual banana festival. Hasan. Hasan. This can also be pronounced as Asan, and the reason it falls in my list of favorite areas is purely because of the Asan Beach Park, or more properly known as the War in the Pacific Memorial Park. This is a great spot for exercising, like for those of you avid walkers or cyclers, or even if you wanted to just go throw a frisbee in the middle of the field. It's such a huge field, maybe playing soccer, if you wanted. And then it also is, really short distance away from the shore, so you could go and walk to the beach there. We definitely loved bringing our dog Max here to the Asan Beach Park almost like once a week because he would just run free and then make his way down to the water and splash around. It was great. Petey. Petey. Petey is also close to a smaller area called Nimitz Hill, and this has also been a favorite trick-or-treating spot of mine. Hagat. Hagat. This is also pronounced as agate to most locals, and the reason that it falls on my list of favorites is because of two sites that I really like. One being the Nimitz Beach Park. This is an area that has like a lot of pavilions, and so it's really nice to, if you wanted to get like a change of setting and just, like set up a picnic there or go reading, and then you get a nice, view of the beach. The other spot is the Agate Marina, or the Agate Pier as I like to call it. And this is where a lot of fishing charters take off from. I mostly know it because of the boat cruises, or in more fun senses, booze cruises take off from. So even just pulling up to the parking lot in that area, like right by the pier, and watching the sunset from there, it is absolutely gorgeous. Santa Rita. Santa Rita. Santa Rita also houses the sub-village of Sumai, and for you military folks, this is where the Guam Naval Base is located, but most locals call it Big Navy. Humatak. Humatak. This can also be pronounced as Umatic. Umatic is also where you will find the historical site of Fort Soledad, and this is a spot that I always highly recommend newcomers to visit. Inalahan. Inalahan. This can also be pronounced as Inarahan. And finally, the southernmost village, Maleso. Maleso, which can also be pronounced as Maritzo. Maleso also hosts the annual Crab Festival. If you enjoyed today's video, then be sure to give it a like so that other people who are researching Guam can find it too. You might also enjoy this video with my full Guam Beginner's Guide to the Island, which is basically like a Guam 101. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Adios!